I have been with my wife 4 years. I have a 5-year-old from a previous relationship. My 5-year-old, Elle, is from my first long-term relationship during college. We split shortly after her birth, as my then partner admitted to being unfaithful and not being ready to start a family. My daughter loves my wife. They are inseparable. My ex does not have much to do with my daughter or myself except cause the occasional drama. She did not want any custody or visitation time, so my wife is her mother for all intents and purposes. My wife is almost 8 months pregnant. She has shut me out of the entire pregnancy but refuses to admit anything is wrong. I feel completely ignored and hurt. When we first learned she was pregnant, she told me while I was making breakfast. Of course I was elated. However, since it was an unplanned pregnancy, I asked how she was feeling at first. She began smiling and crying about how excited she is. I picked her up, gave her a million kisses, and told her I was so excited to have a baby too, and what a wonderful mother she would be. All good, right? She went all out to announce to everyone else. Balloons and boxes, t-shirts and best big sister mugs. I assumed the casual announcement with me is because she wanted my feelings on growing our family before celebrating. However, when her sister asked about how I liked my box, my wife quickly said he didn't get one. This isn't his first rodeo. It was like pulling teeth to get her to let me go to the ultrasound appointments. She didn't want me to miss work, didn't want to interrupt Elle's routine, excuse after excuse. When it came to listening to the heartbeat, my wife instantly started crying happy tears. The tech was telling her how strong the heartbeat was, how precious our little one was, etc. I was feeling a bit emotional and cleared my throat to prevent crying. The tech said, "Aw Dad, isn't that sound beautiful?" My wife immediately said this isn't his first child, it's not that special for him. I immediately said this is one of the most important moments of my life. I can't think of anything more special. The atmosphere was clearly awkward after. Another thing that bothered me, I heard Elle and my wife's mom laughing in the living area. I was in the kitchen making dinner. When I walked in and asked what the fuss was about, Elle was touching my wife's stomach and was laughing with excitement that the baby was moving and it would be so cute. My wife let my daughter and Mill feel the baby move before me. I was hurt but simply said how happy I was. Later that night, my wife was poking her belly and laughing. I asked her to feel as well and she said, "You felt Elle move as a baby. What can be better than that?" She was the cutest baby ever. She has felt pretty poorly throughout her pregnancy, but refuses to let me help her. If I bring her a snack and drink, she offers it to our daughter. If I try and rub her feet or legs, she asks me to play with our daughter so she doesn't feel like she is being replaced or ignored. I simply do not ignore my daughter. We have bonding time. I'm an active parent, but I want to love my wife. She can hardly eat, but when I asked her what I can prepare for her, it's whatever Elle wants. We went to the zoo with Elle, and my wife started feeling bad. She had cramps and was considering going to the hospital, severe nausea and dizziness. I carry her to a bench nearby, and she began to cry saying she can't even stand up. I told her let me call an ambulance or I'll carry you to the car and drive you. She said she didn't want to ruin Elle's trip and we didn't even make it to the aviary, Elle's favorite part. I said I wasn't leaving when she asked me to continue to go through the zoo with Elle. We sat for a while until her dad showed up. She didn't even tell me he was coming, and he took her to the doctor. I was shocked, and ed them with Elle. When we arrived, Elle was upset about missing the aviary and pouting. At that point the health of my wife and unborn child were my concern. I really didn't care. Elle was upset. My wife was irate that I made Elle miss out. Another example, we were watching Elle play in a local kids sport. I asked her, "Do you think our kid will be athletic? Artistic? Enjoy science or math?" She said, "This is Elle's moment, we shouldn't make it about someone who isn't even here." Elle was on the field, we were sitting in the stands. We had both waved to her, held up a sign for her, everything. I just wanted to talk about our baby. When her bump was really showing, she would always show it off to anyone who wanted to look. Her family, friends, siblings, etc. "Do you want to see my bump? I'm huge, so excited, I can't believe it's only X more weeks." They all touch her bump, talk to it, etc. Her parents come and reads or tells back in the day stories. They go to the beach? 1,000 bump pictures posted on her friend's social media accounts, so ready to be an honorary auntie. Her sister wife puts the B in bump in beautiful. If we go out together? She wears the loosest clothes so I don't see it. I'll even see her pull her shirt down when she sees me come into the room. She sat on me the other day after being playful in bed. Her bump was right in my face. I ran my hands up it and said, "You are the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. You already are a great mom to Elle. I can't wait to see you as our family grows." This was one of the first times I was really able to feel her bump, so I rested my hand there and said, "I love you so much already. I'm so excited to meet you. I hope you have your mom's eyes." She moved off of me and said, "I know ex-partner had a bigger bump than me. I bet it was fun seeing Elle move all the time. You don't have to act like you care. I know you've done this before." I said I don't think about it that way. Elle is special, but this is a completely new and different special B, because it was with her and our baby was someone completely new and special. She began to leave the room and I could see her shoulders shake from crying. I am 100% positive she is not cheating, nor has she ever. I just cannot wrap my head around why she doesn't want me to be happy about this. The rest of the time is completely normal as long as I don't mention the baby. She is affectionate, imitates intimacy, brags about what a good husband I am and how great I've made this pregnancy. We plan for our future, have date nights, everything else. Unfortunately, we had a fight where I snapped. I had a break between clients at work, so I went to a local baby store and got a lot of things off of her list and Pinterest board. I came home and surprised her with flowers, a prenatal massage certificate, and her favorite food, as well as the baby items. She seemed very grateful, but when I came home the items were no longer there. She said she returned it to buy Elle stuff, as she was going to feel left out. I lost it. I cried for the first time in our marriage and yelled that having a child with her was the worst mistake I've ever made, that at least my deadbeat ex at least gave me the chance to know my unborn child. That I didn't care about the baby because she wouldn't even let me bond with it. I do care, have since she told me. That I hoped she was as miserable as she made me and that she better be prepared for a custody dispute. She is a psalm for Elle. She simply said, I know you don't care about the baby, but I'll die before you take my baby from me. What? I have begged her to let me interact with her/our baby. I asked her if her therapist had any insight onto why she was being like this. She said no, that she isn't doing anything. I told her what I said above and she said I had those experiences already so it shouldn't matter. I asked her if the baby was mine. I know it is, I was just being mean. She threw her phone at me and said yes, go through it. I'll do a paternity test, whatever you need. I just called her parents and asked them to go to our house as we were having a disagreement and went to a hotel. I do not want to stress her or our unborn child, and I really want to repair this but I truly don't know how. I'm staying at an Airbnb for now until we can figure this out, but I truly don't know what to do. I miss her like crazy, and I can't even begin to understand why she wants to behave this way. I have apologized for what I said, but I can't take back what I said and I worry about when our baby is born if she will even want to be a family with me, or let me have anything to do with our baby. I spoke with a mutual friend who says she is very distraught and says she can't be a single mom, loves me, but her actions prove the opposite time and time again even when I beg for change. Oop, I should have, I stupidly attributed it to hormones and other issues that come with pregnancy. She was sick for most of her pregnancy and for a lot of it actually lost weight, was constantly hungry but couldn't eat and became very body conscious. She is doing much better now and is a healthy weight, and I genuinely thought it would get better. It's much easier to see in hindsight that the first few comments were deeper than that. Oop, I love her dearly. It hurts to see the comments and messages about her or I being horrible. We are both making mistakes, my comments more of a mistake than anything she has ever done, but I do love her and I don't want to think she has a master plot to keep my baby away. This change was like night or day for me. She always talked about the future and how great of a sister Elle will be. Update 1. After I posted and stewed for a little while, and had a couple of drinks, I called my Phil. He and my wife are very close, and I respect his opinion. He has been married for a very long time, and seems to have a happy marriage and has good relationships all around with his family. I didn't specify what issues we were having, but he was over at my house while I was staying in an Airbnb, so it was no secret we were having problems. He has more of a traditional marriage and at some point asked what I had to lose by putting pressure on her to talk. I said I feared I would push her away more, and he pretty much told me that I was living in a separate house than my pregnant wife, freaking out about a potential divorce. What did I have to lose? He advised me to be a man and come back to my house and lay it on the line. I told him I'd be coming over the next day. They asked if they could take Elle to buy some sparklers for the upcoming holiday and spend the night at their house. I agreed, and when I went to my house the next day I came in with flowers and stuff to make dinner. My wife asked what I was doing there, to which I replied I live there and would like to sit down and talk. I gave a long apology for my actions and words. When I finished, I said it was her turn to tell me what was going on. She tried to claim nothing, that everything was okay. After a while, I said my heart is broken, that we have been through some tough things together, fought for each other, and now you sit here and lie to my face. We both sat there and she cried for about 30 minutes until eventually she said she felt like our relationship would end if she was honest. I said I would hear her out, no matter what. She admitted it was hard that this would be her first kid and not mine. She didn't think it would bother her and it didn't until she was pregnant and that she laid in bed at night thinking if my ex would have wanted to raise Elle we would still be a family together and she wouldn't matter. She expressed that seeing me emotional about our baby, or wanting to touch her bump, or treat her made her think of me and my ex and how I had already did all of the things she was excited to do with me. Near the beginning of her pregnancy, she had told a close friend that she couldn't wait to have a baby with her soulmate A. And D. Her friend replied that she didn't think soulmates had other children or baby mamas, that it was two people meant only for each other. She was very upset and asked if I thought we were soulmates like she did. She described herself and our unborn child as my sloppy seconds family, that no one grew up dreaming of having kids by multiple different people. That she was just the substitute when the family I wanted didn't work out. She also shared she had found some old images of my ex on social media, and could not stop comparing her pregnant body. She feared the baby wouldn't be an equal to Elle in my eyes. It worried her when I would ask what she thought the baby would be like, that what if the baby was disabled, or didn't like to do the things we enjoyed as a family, or the baby and Elle didn't like each other? She said at one point she found herself wishing I had never had Elle, so she wouldn't have to worry as much, and that is when she knew she had to really put in the extra effort to maintain a relationship with Elle. She feared that between work and Elle, I wouldn't have time and wouldn't bond with a baby like in the articles she read online where fathers didn't bond with their children until they were able to do things with the family. When I did try and bond with the baby, she worried the baby wouldn't live up to Elle. I have never been shy about saying how much being a father means to me, and how raising Elle has been the highlight of my life, along with marrying my wife, and now having our child together. She said it was initially what made her confident in marrying me, and excited to have a big family with me, but now constantly wondered if her pregnancy and this baby would be a highlight or a burden for me, because the stress is the same but the newness wasn't. And then what if a newborn and then toddler wouldn't be as interesting to me as Elle, who is capable of doing activities? She showed me a million articles of different men explaining they didn't bond with their children until 4+ years old. She also showed me the videos where people say things they did with their first kid, and then get more relaxed as they have more children. She said it freaked her out because it was clear people stopped caring the more children they had. She said that there were times she felt she was ruining our family and coming between me and Elle. For example, at the zoo she said she cried on the way to the hospital. She was afraid Elle would hate her and resent the baby for cutting our zoo time short, and that I would be upset that I was spending my time off work at the hospital instead of doing the activities we planned with Elle while I work. Elle and my wife spend a lot of time out of the house, library, local parks, etc. One of their favorite activities is biking together, and we bike together on weekends as well. We have lots of local trails, but due to her pregnancy she has not been able to. We've been doing more indoor activities. My wife said that when I'm at work, Elle kept saying she hated her because she didn't get to go on her new bike as often anymore. I said I would discuss it with her, because that is unacceptable. My wife asked me not to since there would be so many changes soon for Elle, and it hurt her because she missed biking together as well. A couple of months ago, my wife asked me and Elle if we wanted to read stories together. Elle chose the first story I read, and my wife chose the second, her favorite childhood story, for me to read to the baby, and Elle, since it helps promote brain activity and help with bonding. After that, I read another book of Elle's choosing. While I was at work the next day, Elle ripped the pages out of the book my wife chose. She said she was going to tell me, but her friend, same friend who says we aren't soulmates, said I would think she was making it up and that it seemed to her she was trying to become between me and Elle. I asked her why she didn't tell me any of this, and she explained that she didn't feel comfortable telling me because her thoughts didn't even make sense to her. She wanted me to spend time with Elle so she didn't feel left out or jealous, and when I did she felt upset I wasn't spending more time with her. She loves Elle but wishes we had our first kid together. She wants me around but also feels upset and guilty when I give her/our unborn baby attention. She said she feared that I would think she was trying to come between me and Elle, when she wasn't. By the time I realized something was truly wrong and started to ask what was wrong, if she needed therapy, etc., she said she realized she was acting poorly, but didn't want to admit to herself that she missed out on a lot with me and doubled down as it was hard to face that she made her fears reality by pushing me away and not letting me care, and that she couldn't start over, that her first pregnancy was a somewhat bad experience because of her own actions. At this point, I realized how terrible I had been. I apologized for making her feel like she couldn't come to me about anything. She said when she researched her feelings she found a bunch of forums where people were calling the poster evil for their feelings about their stepchild, and feared I would feel the same. She said if I had told her I felt about Elle the way she felt about Elle, that it would make her angry and upset, so she couldn't see how I wouldn't be. We both cried for a long time. I tried to reassure her. I told her how much I loved her, how excited I was, that she was the family of my choosing and my soulmate, that the universe knew that Elle and I needed her, which is why circumstances allowed us to be a family. She apologized for the way she treated me, and said she wanted to make it right. She said she had wanted to apologize when I was beginning to have my meltdown, but was surprised when I yelled, and realized she might have messed up beyond repair to get that reaction from me. We continued to cry for a long time, and she asked if I wanted to feel the baby. Of course I said yes, and we cried even more. It turned out to be a great evening. I made us dinner and we laughed about how I was so stressed I went to Reddit for advice. She wanted to read the post and cried again when she did. I reassured her we could move past this, and she said she felt less horrible as she read some of the comments from women in her shoes. It was a bit awkward the first week, after so many months of tension. I knew things were turning around when she woke me up by whispering baby wants blueberry pancakes that Saturday. I don't think I've ever prepared pancakes so fast. I couldn't keep the smile off my face. We ended up going to a pool party a few days later, and she let me choose her swimsuit, a big deal for someone who only wore baggy clothes around me. We took family pictures, and the universe is clearly on my side because on the way home she asked me to feel her belly and our baby was hiccuping, something I had never felt before, and it was a first we could share together. She has even let me help her when she is sick without making an excuse about Elle. I've learned that when she comes and puts her back to me and lifts her arm, that is my cue to lift her belly up. I now spend a lot of time rubbing and talking to her belly and rubbing her feet, legs, back, shoulders, hips. She is sore everywhere at this point. The first 500 times it made me cry. It has been such a relief to be involved. I never thought being tasked with acquiring the most random food items at 2 a.m. would be a great time for me, but it is. It still sucks that I missed out on a lot. I think it sucks for her too. She gets emotional and says a weight has been lifted off of her and things are so much easier, and she is upset that she didn't talk to me sooner. I have been working to fix some of my wife's guilt. I realized there was a lot of simple fixes. For example, I was able to go to my local bike shop and get a pull-behind trailer. Now, I pull her in that and she can use a small L fan and ice packs, and L can ride her bike. I have taken off work so I can spend more time with them both. We are all in therapy and thankfully L's therapist is continuing to say she is securely attached to both of us, enjoys the time we spend together, is coping very well. Some of her behavior was due to another situation, which we have resolved, and she is excited to be a big sister. My wife was terrified that maybe she could sense her attitude shift, but her therapist says that she only has one complaint about my wife, that she forgot her candy one time and then it took 32 whole minutes for the store to deliver it. My wife is in therapy working to overcome the negative feelings she has. That is pretty much where we are now. We are getting very close to baby time and working hard to finish preparing. My wife still needs reassurance. There are a lot of times she brings up my ex and I've found bringing up our first helps. For example, she will ask about certain things and how it was for me. I'll say I don't want to talk about that, and steer the conversation to us. Do you remember our first house? First vacation? First kiss? Date? Remember that time blah blah? It made me fall more in love with you. Do you remember when you and Elle made me blah? That is still one of my prized possessions. It upsets me that my wife suffered for so long. I believe saying it out loud took a lot of power away from her feelings. I think most people know how badly it feels when you have thoughts that don't feel like your own when you're going through a mentally taxing time. I really should have stood up for our relationship and her mental health way sooner. I accepted her brushing me off for far too long when I should have realized she needed help. I appreciate everyone who reached out or offered advice. I posted this in detail with my wife's permission. She hopes that it helps someone out there struggling with the same feelings she felt. Oop, we have disinvited this friend from our home. It's hard to cut her out as she is part of my wife's larger friend group. My wife was unsure as this friend has went through some hard things lately. However, recently my wife hosted a girls' night and her friends were arriving as I was leaving. I told her she looked beautiful and wished them a good time. When I arrived back, my wife told me this friend said in front of the whole group that I may be saying kind things to her now, but after some changes after birth I won't describe here, I will be after her.